Walsh here from Embodied Yoga Principles. So this is a video on structuring a yoga class so it's best to get yoga off the mat. Lots of ways to do that. This is just my 2 cents. It's kind of how we structure an EYP class. So if you're looking at, as an EYP student, this is all in your notes. More generally, however, I'd say this could be useful for any yoga teacher that has that interest. So I think the setup's got to be different if you're looking at yoga off the mat. I like to establish a lot of the safety stuff in terms of choice and consent, confidentiality, getting that really clear, in terms of like saying what's coming up. So there's some predictability to the class. That's really helpful for safety if you're building this stronger container, ground rules, and intention, right? Connecting people to their values, saying what do you care about, reminding people of that. So this is the sort of like the introduction of a book rather than a lot of yoga classes, people like straight in there, establishing safety, connection, authority, trust, a bit of belonging, maybe getting everyone to say their name, looking around, everyone looking each other in the eye. I mean, you know, you've got to put it in a way that the class works for them. Different classes might hate, you know, I remember one English group I go to, and there's a Scottish teacher, and she asks people to speak and they never want to, you know, so you've got to pace it to the actual class, yeah, but some sort of introduction, setting up that safety stuff is really important. So I would then, after having this initial period of connecting to values, motivation, safety, trust, and container, building that container for good work, then do some more individual practice so people can get mindful, connect to themselves. I usually start with familiar things. You think of this as like a hero's journey, to use Joseph Campbell's model, from the known to the unknown back to the known. So the known at the beginning is keep it simple, keep it classical, don't do anything too weird, yeah? It might be simple cat-cows or stretches, forward bends, you know, this kind of stuff that I do. Then I get a bit more strange and go a bit deeper, gradually start asking deeper questions, start connecting to edgier areas like politics or gender or something that might be a little bit more edgy. And there's a period where we're in the belly of the whale, in the bottom there, where it's kind of juicy and difficult. And that's where I do the really tough work. It might be like Shavasana as a death meditation, you know, it's pretty full on. And yeah, we're really in that, and that's where it's really held and contained, and people aren't just allowed to come and go at that point in terms of, well, they can go, but you're not gonna let new people in. So that's that. Always making room for breaks and integration, you know, rolling around, sitting on the floor, stretching, making a noise, having a chat with someone. I like to have the conversations as part of integration. I get that not every yoga teacher will do that. And then I usually move to other. So if we're going to say our work's really getting off the mat, we need to have some relational work. That could be, I know one yoga teacher of mine, Jim, he just has pretty much every class, you do one exercise where you sit back to back with someone else. Okay, simple relational exercise. It's not hardcore acro yoga. You could do some other simple partner work, you know, stretching together or stretching to the side together, what leader-follower stuff. So you do some relational work and you're moving from self to other. I like to finish, you know, with cooperative exercises, then often some kind of competitive exercises. I like the competitive stuff because it, you might say, well, that's not yoga. Well, it's part of being human, so I would say it's part of yoga if it's done mindfully and with kindness. And that also takes people out of this you, where they start getting less deep, less emotionally intense, and you start looking about the return home, which is often the bit that's done badly in yoga. It often finishes with a Shavasana, and there's no sense of like, okay, how do we actually use this? So the end of a class, the return home part, last section, I think beginning, middle, end, right, like a movie or a book, the end would have a reflection. What did you learn? Actually chewing on the work a little bit. That could be silent, doesn't have to be talking. It could be, what do you want to practice? What postures are you going to commit to before, you know, next class or next workshop? It could be resources, saying, look, if you want to find out more, or maybe something difficult's come up, go here. Self-care, always do self-care at the end of a workshop. So it's like maybe a little bit of massage, something fun, a game, you know, something nice. It might just be a rest. And encouraging people not to make any big decisions. If you've had a big insight, you know, being careful of quitting their job suddenly. Someone did that once. It could be, you know, drink plenty of water, go for a walk, don't fuck anyone you don't normally fuck, you know, be careful with just spending all your time on email or drinking lots of alcohol. Be aware that it's, you know, maybe it might be 7 p.m. on a Saturday night in the middle of London, you know, telling people it can be a bit of a shock outside. So you're taking people up, taking them into the normal world, both in terms of care, but also in terms of like getting the insight, getting the learning, establishing the practices, staying in touch, resources, newsletter lists, all that stuff. It's getting much more normal. And then you end the class, always make a nice firm end. So there's a definite end. And I always hang around after any kind of transformational work for at least 10, 15 minutes. So if something came up, maybe someone said, you know what, I just realized I'm an alcoholic. Can you help me? And I might say, well, I'm not actually an addiction counselor, but here's a number for AA, here's a number of a therapist I trust. So that bit of time afterwards to kind of decompress and check in with anyone's important. So that's my class structure in order to get yoga off the mat. It's a few ideas. Some of these will apply for you, some of them less so. From self to other, from the known to the unknown to the known, beginning, middle, and end. It's classic structure, really. Hope that helps you. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, you can subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. More importantly, however, get the newsletter. So the newsletter you do, is that right? In the box here? Okay. So why you would want the newsletter? So you hear about the best videos, so you actually ask me questions, you can reply to the newsletter, I'll reply. You can hear about events, teacher trainings, other things that are happening and stay in touch more reliably. So newsletter there.